The tour is nearly over, Paris is beckoning like a beacon on the horizon. We'll reach the Champs-Élysées tomorrow, but first there's the not inconsequential matter of the time trial in Marseille. Some riders are just thinking of the end of the race, but it's obviously a different story for me. I'm 6th overall and I have to race as hard and as fast as I can. My aim is a simple one, to go all out for the best possible time. In truth, I think it's difficult to change my position. I'm kind of stuck in no man's land with a minute and 1 second between me and the rider in 5th, Fabio Aru. The rider behind me, Simon Yates, is over 2 minutes back. Yep, it's going to be runoff over 22.5 kilometers and a lot can happen. You could have a really bad day and lose a lot of time. It is going to be an interesting race. Aside from this year's result, I want to do my best possible performance for another reason. Someday I will hopefully be racing for the yellow jersey in the final time trial, so it is important to get absolutely everything out of each time you do these races against the clock. Looking back at the last few days, it's been quite up and down. The rest day on Monday wasn't the best for our team, as we had a couple of guys fall sick. Our former world champion Philippe Gilbert was violently ill for the whole day and wasn't able to start on Tuesday. That ended up being a big factor, as he would have been crucial in protecting me in the crosswinds. Afterwards the team got a lot of stick for not looking after me better in the wind. It looked to some that they were waiting for Marcel Kittel, who was dropped on the early climbs, but in reality that wasn't the case. They had been all so weak from the illness that they simply couldn't stay in the peloton. One who could was my teammate Jack Bauer, who did an incredible job to protect me as much as possible. We just lost each other at the critical moment, when the hammer went down into the winds. I got balked by a couple of guys moving up, and then I had to slam the brakes a bit just as the group was splitting. It was unfortunate to lose that 51 seconds, and it proved crucial in the end. But these things happen. We got our fair share of good luck, and we also got our fair share of bad luck in this race. That was a big dose of bad. By Wednesday's stage, which went over the legendary Col du Galibier, I felt a hell of a lot better. It's one of the most iconic climbs in the Tour de France, and I was pleased that my legs felt good from the start. The day was a real war of attrition, particularly after Alberto Contador and Nairo Quintana attacked on the day's middle climb. By the time we got to the final ascent, it was epic. We climbed something like 35 kilometers in total, with a 5 kilometers flat section in the middle. The Col du Galibier is brutal, and at over 2,600 meters, the altitude really takes its toll toward the top. The air is super thin up there. If you dip into the red too much, you really pay for it. I felt really good and thought I'd test the legs with an attack, and also see how Team Sky would respond. They weren't setting an especially hard tempo, so I thought they were maybe having a bad day. I ended up almost having a 1-2 tactic, taking it in turns to attack with Romain Bardet, Chris Froome's biggest rival. In the end I was with the guys at the top of the hill, but we caught Contador at the summit, and he then allowed a gap to open ahead of me on the second corner of the descent. I wasn't able to close that gap on the downhill. It was so fast that as soon as you lose the wheel, it was game over. I ended up losing 30 seconds to the Froome group, which was frustrating. I'm still learning, I think. Maybe it was a little lapse in concentration again, but the outcome was frustrating. My legs were better than the general classification result suggests, but that's the way it goes. Thursday's stage was another summit finish on the Col d'Isouard, a legendary climb. Bardet started the stage third overall, just 27 seconds off yellow, and his Victoire à la Mondiale team were determined to give him every chance to take over as race leader. They drilled it, setting a really vicious pace, which really saps the energy. At the bottom of the climb everybody was just dead, completely worn out. It has been such a heavy tour. But then I saw that Aru was in more trouble than I was, so I decided to try to push the pace, and put some attacks in. I was also thinking about the stage victory. The king of the mountain